So, welcome, Dina. Welcome, Nicole. Welcome to those that have joined us today. Welcome to Break by Design. We
Back
are
to your
on,
regular scheduled program.
right. We are on our 27th episode. And the
Wow.
way I titled this episode, and we're just beginning because we are making more connections now as we've been moving on. And today I specifically wanted to connect this latest act, the Ombudsman Act that we spoke about, not the act, but the memo, the interpretation of it. We spoke about it last week with Naita. And I wanted to connect it to Project 2025. I'm not sure with those of you that have recently joined us, is that everybody continues to call Project 2025 the blueprint. And I think we're past the blueprint phase. We are actually in the phase of implementation. We are in the phase that the Project 2025 is actually an instruction manual of
Yep.
what we need to do. So it's no longer what I would say a blueprint. And during my research, I have found that over 52% of Project 2025 has already been implemented.
Yep. I think it's page the one page that sticks out to me is page 3, I think, page 3 or 4. There's a 4-point bulletin on like Project 2025, what America should be. It talks about one of them is bring back the sanctity of marriage, to a man and a woman or something like that. Basically what they're saying is gay people bad.
It's
And what they're saying is divorce, yeah, we can't have that anymore. Then it talks about something to do with the deep state and giving the people back the I don't remember the exact wording of it. If anybody looks it up and pulls it up, but what the Constitution calls blessings of the liberty or some shit like that.
mm,
So it discusses that as well in there. So those 4 points are basically the start of the society that they dream of. And I think when people read Project 2025 or if they skim Project 2025, when we talk about things like a Gilead society, we're not
yes,
talking about an actual what you see on the show Handmaid's Tale or
right,
the new one, the follow-up one that came out recently. Um, 10 years later, I don't remember the name of
right.
the show, but we watched it and it was terrific, right? Uh, that we don't, and I think people try to correlate that, what they see on TV versus real life. No, just because what you see on a TV, that's the best way we can describe it. Do we think women are going to walk around with handmaids uniforms on and stuff like that in real life? No, we don't. I don't
But,
think that's real.
but,
But do I think that we could very possibly see, them trying to change laws around when, irreconcilable differences, doing
yes,
away with something like that. Yes, I could see them wanting to do that. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they fought against making it illegal here in Michigan to get married under the age of 18, even with a parent's consent. And Mega had a conniption fit about that. A conniption fit. I mean, that's a common sense thing.
there are still states right now that still allow marriage under 18, quite a
Yep.
few, to my
Yep. Too many.
understanding. And I don't even know the number of it because I haven't researched it. But I do know there's quite a few of states that still continue to allow it. And one particular state, even without the parents' permission, if you're 16 or something,
Yep. And they're all in the South. I think it's like 32 or 33. So no, 33 states is that's the countries.
that's the countries.
But yeah, it's um I find it reprehensible. I absolutely find it reprehensible that any grown man cannot look at that law and say, yeah, that's common sense. We shouldn't let 16 and 17-year-olds getting married to, 30-year-old men, 40-year-old men. That's just and they used Christianity as the excuse. Well,
Correct.
I mean, having a child out of wedlock fuck your wedlock. I had 3 of my kids out of wedlock, for Christ's
Mhm.
sakes, and they're just fine. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, but the reason why I was bringing up Project 2025 today is because I did want to link it to the Olmsted's memo. And to me, it is directly related to the goals for disability policy. And one of the goals was to gut home and community based services, in which case Project 2025 actually calls for significant cuts to Medicaid.
And they already have.
Right. And so this is one of the things that they already are doing. The other thing is what they're proposing to do, and this is where the Offspit Act memo comes into play, is to eliminate the administration for community living. Project 2025 proposes eliminates the ACL, the federal agency responsible for the Olmstead enforcement and community integration. So think about that. They've already eliminated ACL. They eliminated the
I
administration
will
for community living.
I'll give you
Uh,
my lived experience in a moment.
you got it. And let me finish these points. The other thing is, and we're going to talk about this later as well, is it explicitly explains the shift to power to the states. And the memo explicitly argues that states should be allowed to decide for themselves whether to provide community based services or institutionalized people. And so it's basically federalism as a cover for civil rights rollbacks.
Yep.
And so this return to the institutionalization therefore envisions a smaller federal role and social services, leaving states to make their own decisions, including whether or not to fund institutions over community care. So this is bad news to civil rights, including those with disabilities.
It's money.
Well,
Who would benefit from it?
it's money, and it's also not random. It's coordinated. It's to cut the Medicaid. It's states losing funding for community care. And then they receive a legal memo to get legal cover to stop providing it. And there's no enforcement, no agency that will hold the states accountable. So now your lived experience.
Um, Many of you know my sister lives with us. We care for her. She gets Social Security disability, and she also gets what's called extra help. And that helps her pay for her Medicare premiums. Well, about 6 months ago, they said they mailed some letters or whatever for her to renew it or whatnot. I filled it out, mailed it back. There was a mix up. It's happened a couple times over the years, right? And then they cut her off the extra help, but then they refund her the money, refund it.
Right.
Well, that happened about 6 months ago. And
Mhm.
I said, no, I mailed it in. Here it is again. Okay. So here we are 6 months later, still waiting for the reimbursement from the extra help for the 2 months she was cut off. Nope, not getting it because now the funds have been cut. If you lose it, if you lose it, you're not getting it back, and if you lose it, you can't. At least I was told
No
that you cannot
grandfathering it
reapply.
back. Right, no
Yeah, that you
grandfathering it.
can't reapply for it again. So
Mhm.
you have to either stay on it, or if you get off of it, you're not going to be able to reapply for it.
And
Never had
so
that issue.
how do you well, remember, we've talked a lot about the fact that I'm trying to get my son onto DAC, and DAC being the disabled adult
Yeah,
child's within Social Security. So basically, what that allows is that if you're disabled before the age of 22 and you have a parent or a step parent that's receiving Social Security, whether or not for disability or for their own Social Security, that child qualifies for DAC. DAC has a different asset threshold than SSI. And therefore, the child typically receives more, or the adult child typically receives more on DAC than they do on SSI. My son is on SSI. He was disabled before he was 22. He lived in a household with me and his stepfather during that entire time. I claimed him on my taxes as we claimed him on our joint taxes as a dependent.
yep.
What ended up happening is Social Security, DAC, basically, the administrator basically told me that he did not qualify for DAC because we do not support him at 50% of the time. That is not a requirement for DAC. That is a requirement if you're under 18, not a requirement for an adult child disability. The
That's an IRS requirement. That's not.
it's
Yeah,
completely they were telling me incorrect information. They were not applying the DAC regulations. It is still in limbo right now. They were supposed to send me a denial letter. Instead, all I received was a letter that stated that we had this telephone conversation. Mhm. That was back in February. It is now July. With a denial letter, I'm able to appeal it, therefore be able to get him the benefits sooner because I knew I had the law on my side. But there's a reason why they're doing this, connecting the dots. SSI is paid from a different fund. It's not
yep.
necessarily paid from Social Security. SSI could be the very next thing that will be removed. This is just another act to make the poor disposable. I am concerned he will not be able to have any incoming money. And I think that's the next step that they're doing. As a matter of fact, I am required to go into the Social Security office on Tuesday. And guess what I'm going to be doing? Springing up DAC again. I'm got the face of somebody. I'm going to be able to see the whites of
Yeah,
their eyes, but all to show that my son still is not receiving any sort of monies. They expect this man to live off of $1,200 a month.
that's ridiculous. It is
They're
absolutely
trying
ridiculous.
to remove him, and now I have to go in on Tuesday to fight that.
It's astonishing how easily some people are manipulated by things like, well, we can't afford it. SSI, SNAP benefits, Medicaid. We just have to make those cuts. We have to. We're in debt because of it. We're in debt. Social Security, that's 70% of what we spend every year. And it, I am I am astonished that people would choose to believe these politicians over fellow Americans who say, "No, that's not really right because here's the research on it. Here's the actual numbers on it. Hey, let's go back 50 years and see what they said about it. Let's see what Ronald Reagan even said about Social Security." And you show them it, and then they pick up the goalposts and they try to move it back. Well, well, able-bodied people shouldn't be on Medicaid. Then they moved the goalpost even farther. Well, maybe, but they need to at least work so many hours to get Medicaid. It's ridiculous. It's angersome. It's very, very angersome.
Well, it is angersome, but this is all relates back to Project 2025. They're moving
Yep.
the funds and they're stealing the funds from us. They're stealing it. I don't know any other way to do this. And then they'll put it under the guise of like Trump, the whole ballroom. This whole ballroom. Now he's saying private entities is paying for it, and has gone up from 300 million to 500 million, but private entities, and it's going out for a no bid. So which crony is he going to get to do that? And it's going to be done wrong. I mean, we have proof of it. Any crony that
Yeah.
he hires gets it done wrong.
I I still go back to look, you know, I still believe, one, there is another side to this. Eventually. Two, are these the actions of a man or a party that are willingly going to hand over power? Number one. Number two, are these the actions of a president who plans on leaving in just a couple of years? No. Yeah, I, you just don't. I never heard of updating a ballroom or updating the whatever you want to call it, the situation room, below the White House, the secure room. I never heard of any of that shit until out of the blue one day he's like, "We're going to build the ballroom." Well, yeah, things start coming out. Oh, but we gotta redo the situation room too. Down there, we that needs to be updated. And it's all about money. It's how much can they funnel from us, the taxpayer? It it's all, even the celebration. I had like 6 people there, right? It's all about money. It's everything. Everything is about there are no greedier motherfuckers in this country than rich motherfuckers. They are the greediest people on this planet, and it's disgusting.
It is a mental disorder.
It is.
It is a mental disorder. It is just, they talk about hoarders. Well, wealth hoarders are the worst hoarders,
Yep. Don't
and
don't you
that's
just
what
wanna,
they
like,
are. Wealth.
walk up to the White House and knock on the front door and be like, "Where the fuck is he? Bring that fat orange fucker to me. Come here. We need to have a talk." And there's an old lady on TikTok that has a Trump doll, right? And she just beats the shit out of it with a bat. What's wrong with him? And it's hilarious. It's funny. But the comedy behind it, it's how millions of Americans feel. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Why are you why how and why can you be such hateful, bigoted, racist, homophobic, transphobic pieces of garbage? How? I'll never understand it.
I don't know, from a psychology
I told
stand.
you, I'm
Yeah.
full of piss and vinegar today.
It's okay, it's okay. I don't know, and you rightfully so. It's okay to be full of piss and vinegar, because it is through that passion that we can work towards moving the, let me think, that we can work towards progress, I wanna say. And
Yeah,
yes, that's right, Jenny. You're in great company. I think most of us are full of piss and
right.
vinegar, so in great company. So, rightfully so. Um,
And that's what it is it's moving forward. It's taken this country forward, and it's taken, you know, that's why I'm glad to see, like, Abdul here in Michigan on the national stage, making the rounds on all the big talk shows, and he's an articulate guy. He's going to say what he's going to say, and he doesn't care if you like it or not, because those are the facts of the matter. Period. No matter what, if it comes to Palestine, if it comes to healthcare, Social Security, it doesn't matter. He's going to say it, And, after I know a lot of people here probably already know about Colorado, the election, a 30-year incumbent, which we were talking about before we went live. It's
Yes,
like that's the party. And I said it a long time ago that the Democrat Party is going to go through another party switch. It's not going to be like, an election cycle or two. It's going to take time. But that's what I see because people they're fed up. They're fed up with the fact that we're always told that we can't have nice things like free healthcare because it's just too expensive. Bullshit. They're fed up with saying we can't afford daycare for working parents. It's just too expensive. Bullshit. If we can't take care of
but
all
we
of our
can
own
bomb
citizens in this country, yeah,
but
but we can bomb
bomb a school with 200 girls in it.
with a bomb that costs what, $1 million, and
Yeah,
then we send billions and billions to
but
these countries free of charge. But and people are catching on to that. I even think there's a lot of former MAGA that I think may have been their tipping point. Like, wait a minute, we're really sending Israel billions of dollars, and we've been doing that for decades. And do they have free healthcare? And we're told that we can't because it's too expensive. But then you have people like Bernie introducing bills, and you have people like Abdul who literally wrote the book on this is how we do free healthcare in the country. Here's the process. There's a literal book out there about it. And how do we pay for it? And my favorite line of his in the book is, you know, by taxing these billionaires and taxing their wealth and multimillionaires, afterwards they're still billionaires. That's the key point here. They're still billionaires, and we can have free healthcare. We can have free childcare for working families. We can have those things. We just have to have the common sense to elect the right people that when these bills get brought to the floor, that they're going to vote for. Because established Democrats right now are panicking. I don't care how calm they say they are. They're panicking.
well, they're
They are
panicking.
behind the scenes. They're going, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah, the established Democrats, just recently, about 110 of them, 110 voted to continuing the bombing of Lebanon.
And then they gaslight you. Well,
And
see, it's
it
more than just that. You don't understand, but they treat you like you're stupid.
correct, and there were several, but it was all based upon those Democrats, the established Democrats, each one of them are receiving APAC money. So
Yep,
you put the connect the dots there. Each one of them, all the ones that voted for it, that
yep.
made it bipartisan, 110,
I
110, let me repeat
I
that,
had this thought,
all
and I'm
supported
like,
by APAC.
what if would be the icing on the cake is for because you've seen it before, right? Representatives get elected, then they switch party. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
but I thought, what would be funny is if say like here in Michigan, Haley Stevens, they've spent millions and millions of dollars on her, right?
mhm.
If somebody played them for the fools that they are and took all this APAC money and then they win. But when it comes time to vote, you, you get what I'm
I was saying,
that would be I mean, what is APAC going to do? Sue them? You need to give us our donations back. Come on, that would be hilarious. It was just a stupid thought I had, and I'm like that. But they would probably try. We want our donations back. And that would just prove the point of lobbyists because they say that some people, oh, they're overreacting about donations from corporate PACs and stuff. We're not beholden to them. Blah blah blah. Bullshit. Bullshit. Who are you going to listen to? The guy who don't set you $5 on the internet, or DTE Energy who's giving you 2 million bucks? Come on, let's be for real.
yeah, I'm just kind of flabbergasted by it. I don't know what to say anymore in regards to it, but I do know one thing. I'm not surprised by it anymore.
No. Neither am I.
I'm not shocked by it
Not
anymore.
at all. And you don't
It
hear them talking about Project 2025 anymore.
You don't hear them because they don't
No.
want you to know that 52% of it has already been implemented.
Yep.
Get a
And,
hold
and
of that
what happened?
number, and they're
Lebanon gets
scared.
bombed, and what starts coming to the forefront of mainstream media again? What happened? Do you know? Does anybody know? I know. I know what started popping up.
What's popping up now?
The Epstein shit, the Epstein files about Katie Johnson. There was a lot of stuff happening. Katie Johnson not releasing the report. They still have files. It was starting to come to the forefront. And then the next day, boom, Lebanon's bombed. Yep. Yep.
And then boom.
They think the American people are stupid. And some of them I digress on, but I think the overwhelming majority of Americans, you know, I don't think that they're all stupid. No, I think the overwhelming majority of Americans see what's going on, but I don't think everybody's angry enough at the same time because I think people here just, they read the headline, they read the article, and they're like, this shit is just, I can't deal with it. This is ridiculous. Then they go to work, do their daily life. It's like, well, who was it? Argentina? Are they still protesting over there or some shit? And it's like, other countries embarrass us when it comes to protests. I would hop in my car right now and go to Washington, D.C. right fucking now if I knew I had a million people coming behind me.
Uh, maybe we have to be. I think we're going to have to be
Yes.
brave. I think we're going to have to
Yep.
be brave, regardless of how many people may show up. Um, just recently, we did have a not a veteran, an active member go to
Yep.
Washington, D.C. With Jessica Denson and Al Green and everything like that, and he was arrested.
Yep. You know what their
So,
excuse
and
was for
he,
that? He violated his uniform code of conduct. And I
but I,
said, well, since when do local police have authority over arresting a military member for violating uniform code of conduct? Your argument just fell apart there, buddy. There was like, come on. Huh, and for everything he said was true, and he was brave. I'm good he stood up I'm glad he stood up there and said the fucking truth out loud for millions of people to hear. And, you know,
absolutely.
not that I'm glad he was arrested, but hey, look what that shows. Look what that he's up there using his freedom of speech, and they arrested him for it.
Yeah, and I agree. American people are exhausted. Yes, we are
Yes.
exhausted.
Yeah,
Yes,
with
it was a
Albania.
great interview on with Jessica Denson. I agree, and he spoke about the terms of the reason why he's doing it. He's very humble, by the way. He believes that because of his position, he's not a high-ranking officer. Because of his position, he could take on the risk of protesting what's going on.
Yep.
He didn't say anything because I'm exceptional or because of any of those types of things. He believes because of his position where he's located within, and correct me if I'm wrong, is this I can't quite recall what part of the branch he is
Air
part of,
Force.
Air Force, that he felt like, yes, I need to do this. I support the Constitution.
Yep.
He needs to be impeached. And he was right on this. And so I appreciated that. But I think more of us are going to have to be like him, and we're going to have to pull up our big girl pants and basically, in my case, and basically go out there, even if I'm the only one out there.
But this idea that, I've seen another thing I've seen like since yesterday is, them pushing impeachment articles and stuff. And I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad you're doing it, but let's step into reality. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Not right now. Not right now. And even if he was impeached with a Democratic majority after the midterms, he's not going to be removed because they need two-thirds of the Senate. Do you think there's going to be enough Republicans to flip? No. But the one thing it will do is it will stall everything. It will stall everything in his administration. It
Assuming
can
that the established Democrats will.
hold the trial.
Right.
And who knows with that? Do like,
I
Hakeem Jeffries being the minority leader. I think he's at risk. He's gonna be at risk because it's gonna take, you got all these Democratic socialists, whatever you want to call 'em, that are winning, and if they win their seats, they're not gonna vote for him. It's not gonna happen. You got Abdul El Said. Do you think he's gonna vote for Schumer to be the leader anymore? No.
Schumer needs to
Yep.
leave. Goodbye,
Yep.
Schumer. Goodbye, all of them. Each term that comes up, we're gonna have, and we have to stop having memories like goldfish here. I mean,
Yeah.
the reality is every time things seem to be improving, like during the Biden administration, things were beginning to improve. We forget. We forget very
Yep.
quickly. We just kind of forget very quickly. And we have to hold our representatives and our senators accountable. We have to be responsible for when a new cycle comes up is to remember the past and the history and
Yep.
remember those things that they actually voted for or against. I wish there was a publication out there. I don't have the bandwidth to produce it myself, but I wish there was a publication out there for voters that they are able to go and actually research their representative and or senators in regards to those things that they pass and didn't pass.
There is, but it's just, they make
It's
it
too hard.
complicated.
Right. It's
Yeah.
too hard to go through, you know,
Like
with a certain lens on it is the best way.
yeah,
The
like Open
lens.
Secrets, for
Right.
example. If there was
Correct.
another one, just for, uh, Open Secrets type publication or website where you
Mhm.
could put in your representative's name, here's the bills they voted yes, and here's what they
It's
voted
been
no on, and
correct.
this is what they did. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, that's a good idea. If I had the ability to build a website like that, I probably would.
And I don't have the bandwidth, but something like APAC Tracker, something like even the Project 2025 Tracker, which I use and go into and see what's taking place. And so something along those lines, so we can actually remember. I recognize there's so much going on, and it's hard to remember every little nuance that's taking place, but you
Yep.
can big categories, such as
That's the
civil
point of it, though.
rights.
It's
Right.
it's to keep everybody on edge. It's to keep everybody angry and upset. That's the kind of country he wants. He wants that because, you know, when he does shit, that way it's not as surprising to people because I think we're all at that point where anything he does, if you're surprised by it today, where the hell have you been? What rock have you been hiding under? That sort of thing. And everything he does is for a reason. Every time he speaks, I tell people, take him seriously. Even if you think it's a damn joke, that's not important. No, no, he always tells on himself.
Oh,
Always.
it's it is definitely projection. He does definitely always tells on himself, and I
And
do
like
want.
like Elon Musk, look at him. I've been seeing, I'm not on Twitter, but
Mhm.
some people are sharing him uh, absolutely losing his shit on Twitter about, you know, canceling USAID money and, nobody can point to one kid that died. And I seen a video stitched
Oh,
yesterday
yeah,
where
I
it was
saw
a
that
guy,
one.
yeah, and
Did you
he's
po
like,
did you post that one? I
I
did watch it.
reposted it, I think, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, huh, okay, well, there's your name. It's it just people like him shouldn't exist. That sort of wealth, I mean, it shouldn't be. I mean, that's not capitalism.
No, it
That's
isn't
not.
capitalism.
No, that's
This is
how
oligarchy.
can to watch people in our own country, not even just our country, but the technology we have nowadays, the ability, the reach, and to watch these people, around the world suffer, starve, not have medicine, even in our own country and in other countries, that fucking breaks my heart. We have the ability to make this planet, not just this country, this planet. We have the ability to make this planet something great. But because there's a handful of people in this world that are rich and think that because they're rich, they're brilliant and they're above everybody else, it's ridiculous. It is fucking ridiculous.
Hold on, I'm typing something here. So basically,
Right.
extraction, kleptocracy, oligarchy, it's theft, and I just typed it's theft, and it's not even hidden. It's taking place right before our open eyes.
Yeah.
Our eyes are not even closed on this one.
We
And
want to go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's
Oh, I
okay.
was going to say, I mean, we want to move. We want to sell our house and move, but selling our house isn't a problem. Buying another one is because the home prices here are crazy. I actually started looking around the country. I'm on the little Zillow map and I'm like, I don't give a shit if the state is run by Republicans or whatever. So I started looking everywhere around the country, right? I wanted to look a little more south, maybe southern Kentucky, northern Georgia. And I look at Marjorie Taylor Greene's district,
Mhm.
outside of Rome, Georgia. And I'm like, what? If you were the house that I seen, and I'm like, I fell in love with it, right? And I'm like, 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath on an acre of land outside of Rome, Georgia for $249,000. And I'm like, that's $1 million house here in Michigan. Ha, what the hell? And I see a lot of videos of people like, hey, I'm moving to Michigan a lot because people are starting to move back to Michigan.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why? Why? I
Oh,
want to
well,
get the fuck out of here.
yeah, okay, be careful for what you wish for. Remember, you got health insurance issues. There's a lot of really bad things that are going on
Yeah.
with the red states. And I don't know where your health insurance stands at this point, but you have to take that as part of the consideration when you're moving elsewhere.
Yeah. And we do. Like my wife, she's got $2,100 in medical debt.
Hmm.
And they're like, we want to set up a payment plan of $700 a month. And I'm, fuck you.
Right. Yeah,
She
really.
has health insurance. She pays for health
Right.
insurance from her work. It's like,
Right.
what's the point of having it?
That's right.
When you get this, and she has,
And that's
it's not like
that's a
she's gone to
whole
the
nother
doctor and
conversation. That's a whole
yeah,
nother conversation. That is a completely whole other conversation.
it is absolutely ridiculous.
It is, but
I
I
thought
would
about it because we got the bill yesterday. I'm like, huh? For what?
yeah, it's ridiculous, and that's something that I'm hoping that the progressive candidates that are out there are really gonna attack this whole thing about health insurance.
Yeah,
One of the writers who is in exile, I should say, who had to run away from the United States, um, she did a personal reflection piece about the cost difference. And one of the things is she received a $24,000 medical bill for an emergency room visit in New Mexico.
Jesus.
In Mexico, she just went to a emergency room in Mexico, and she was very scared about the cost, about what's going to take place. She gets the bill, and she felt that the service was way more better than here in the United States,
Yep.
more personable and things like that. She was told she would need to see a specialist, and she got concerned. Well, that for me to see a specialist, I'll probably be 3 months down the line. I know for a fact that I require a surgery right now, but I have required this surgery since March. It is now July, and I'm just about to have a conversation with the surgeon, but I also have to go for an additional test. And guess what? My test isn't scheduled until after, towards the end of July. So where does that put my surgery?
We have the
But
worst.
let me finish. So, in Mexico, going back to her story, in Mexico, she gets the bill. She sees it at, I don't quote me on this one. She sees it as maybe 400, and she thought to herself, $400, not bad, because she was thinking American. Then she realized it's in pesos, which equates to $24.
Jesus. And that's, that is the one positive thing of social media is you can find videos of Americans living in different countries that like Mexico and China. I've seen a couple other countries, the one lady I've seen in China, she had to go to the doctors and it cost her like $10, right? And she got to see, she went in for her checkup, got her prescriptions, she had to see a specialist, she had got a mammogram or something like that, all in the same place. She didn't have to wait months for a specialist. She had to wait minutes, and that's the thing. I think Americans are finally. It doesn't matter who, if you're mega, I don't want nothing to do with you really, but you can't disagree with that. Our healthcare system is absolutely screwed, plain and simple. So, um, Americans are starting to wake up to that, and they're realizing that you know what, I want nice things too. And there's no reason why we can't have those nice things,
There's no reason.
period.
But as an humanitarian, I'm one of those people that believes everybody deserves a house.
Yes.
Not apartment, a place to live. Whatever you consider your home, you deserve a roof over your head. Everybody deserves food. There should be no food insecurity here in America.
Nope.
But guess what we
Yeah.
have? Food insecurity.
Big time.
And big time. We have children that are starving. And the only place that they're able to get food is through a free lunch program or even free breakfast, free this
Yeah. We
through
have
the
that here
public
in our
schools,
district.
through the public schools. And at least here in San Francisco, what we do is even through the summer when school is not in session, they continue to provide free
Yep.
lunch program.
That's what we have here. I just got the email about it after the kids got out of school. They're like, for kids that, because they're used to getting breakfast and lunch and for families that
Mhm.
can't afford it or whatever,
Right.
they can go to the schools and get breakfast and lunch and cold lunch, get breakfast, but then they can bring like a cold lunch sack home with them so they can have some food. And there's people that use it and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I mean, it shouldn't cost us in this country to go to the grocery store for a family of 4, and we've talked about this before. The price keeps going up.
Right.
We went from, last year going from a couple $100, now we're double. We're like 350, $400 just to eat for a week for a family of 4. And it's ridiculous, the amount of money we spend on groceries. Absolutely ridiculous.
But there's no such thing as affordability.
So, yeah, that he don't care. He don't care about that. He don't care. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. That's what I yeah.
So there's no such thing. But this is the America that we are living in today. And to finish up my point is that we also are entitled to free education, you know,
We have
even
that
at
here in Michigan.
even at the university level, you
That we
know.
don't have.
Right.
But we do have free community college. If you want The governor signed a bill, and she signed a bill, and I think if you want to come back and finish your bachelor's degree or go, you can do that free here in Michigan
Right.
at one of the participating community colleges across the state. My daughter's who's about to give birth next month to my granddaughter, her significant other. He works full time, but he's also going back to school to be a nurse, and he's taken advantage of that, so he
Mhm.
could go get his degree to be a nurse.
Well,
It's a
that
good.
is
I mean, it's a
it's
start.
good. It's a start, and I do know in New York City, they actually have free childcare. And he's doing this in less than 5
7
full
months,
months?
6
Yeah, but
months, something like
he
that. Yeah,
started in the undertime, and so to say to every other person in their cities, "Oh, it's not possible," especially here in San Francisco, that we're being run by the tech bros as well as the billionaires. I can't e That's another whole topic.
yeah.
But,
Well, you know why they say that, right? It's not possible. I mean, we gotta do what? We gotta fix roads. We gotta make sure infrastructure's fixed. It's expensive. The reason why that's expensive is I will give you really quickly why it's expensive. When they just recently did out here, they redid my water lines last summer, right?
mhm,
They put it in there. So these construction, I can't help but laugh. They come and they redo the water lines. They put
mhm,
in the new end of the driveway. They put in the new dirt, spray it with the grass stuff, right?
right.
And then they lay the new road, patched in where they dug the big hole, right? Then they come back and then they dig it all up, the
Yeah,
entire road.
it happens
And then
all the time here,
yeah, the lawn care company has come back 4 times to patch and patch and patch and patch and patch. That cost money each and every
every
damn
time.
time.
Correct.
But if you look at countries like Japan, remember it was like a decade ago, they had a big sinkhole in the middle of fucking Tokyo, I think it
Mhm.
was, right? 24 hours later, gone. It didn't even exist. And the
So
funny
why do
part is
you
I
think it's the
literally was gonna
difference?
film the video.
Why do you think there's that difference? Why do you think that here, because it happens here in San Francisco, they're redoing the pipes here, and I don't can't tell you how many times the road, it's like, 1, also, there's no coordination. There's absolutely
No,
0 coordinations with the agencies.
right. And there's
And so
4 guys watching 1 guy dig a hole. I shit you not, I should have filmed it. I'm like,
Mhm,
he's over here digging around the drain, right? And he's got to
mhm,
put concrete around it before they put the new road down. And there's 4 guys all standing there with clipboards talking while 1 guy's putting the concrete, digging a hole.
correct.
I'm like, there's $50 an hour, $50 an hour, $50 an hour, $50 an hour, $20 an hour.
Right.
It's just it's laughable. It's laughable. In
It is,
countries like
and
Japan, they do everything with care.
now
Everything is done with care.
absolutely, and pride,
Yeah. That's
so
why it costs us so much money.
correct.
Is ridiculous shit like that. We've had highways here when we had Governor Snyder before Governor Gretchen Whitmer, right? They redid a section of 131, like a 10-mile section.
Mhm,
They waited until after the warranty expired. Oh, guess what happened? You'll never believe it. When they laid the concrete down on this major highway, they did the wrong mixture, the wrong chemical compound. So we got to redo the whole thing again. It was
absolute
done twice in a decade.
no, they continue to do that, or the measurements, they fuck up the measurements all the time over here,
Yep,
all
yep,
the time. They
yep.
don't take certain things as part of the consideration. We have an area in which water constantly comes down on a steep, but they don't take that as part of this consideration. And we tell them that, "Hey, you're building this, you may need to put in these gaps in order to
Mhm.
so the water can go in." Nope.
They don't listen to you. And this
It's
this
just
isn't just an
over
isolated
and
incident.
over.
This happens in every township and city in this country. It's ridiculous. And that's where it goes, the lowest bidder isn't always the best.
Well,
And that's what these companies try to
I
underbid
do
each other.
right, and I too wanna get to Dina's point here. Basically, she states privatization. Well, we all know, guess what Project 2025 is for? more
Yeah.
privatization.
Yep.
It's
Everything
like
from road work to Social Security.
everything to education, to the education as well.
Yep.
Um, and that's part of the reason. And I didn't get a chance to really go over this today because we're going to be wrapping it up real soon. But I agree. We need more robust public services.
Yes. I mean, you have property taxes, like, I know not all of it, but I think I brought this up before. Like, I think where I live, there's about 3,500 homes. And that's not the entire township. That's just in my neighborhood, right?
Mhm.
$4,000 a pop. Where does
Absolutely.
all that money go? 500.
And, and then for those of you absolutely in Japan, I was worried about going to Japan because I did hear some negative things about it, but then when I went to Japan, I absolutely loved it.
That's all I ever see. People are like, the stark difference. I mean, you have 5-year-olds taking the train going to school.
Yeah,
You can't do that here.
yeah.
No way.
Well, we don't even have the robust train system here. This is what's sad. Here in
Yeah,
the
but you got the
U.S.,
San Francisco train, the Rice-A-Roni train. Come on.
we have cable cars. We still have our cable cars,
Yeah.
um, and we do have what they describe as a metro system here in San Francisco. The metro system goes underground as well as on top of the ground, but it's
Oh, we don't
not
have that.
right. But it's not a train system like they have in Japan.
No.
I mean, you can take a train from one part of Japan to the other part of Japan. You could go from Tokyo to Osaka. You can go to the various different points. And we're not talking about a very long time. And yes, BART definitely is not the same as well. So that's another train system that we have that's underground that takes you from the Bay Area, but it doesn't go to all parts of the Bay Area. It's missing like San Jose, it's missing like Marin. It's nothing like Japan. Japan, it's there. And then
It's
they
a
have the
different
bullet
world.
train. It's a different world. They have the bullet trains. The
Yep.
bullet trains.
Yep.
I, I
And I say the same thing about China. While this is everything we all know what's happening in this country, right? All the arguments it takes you like to get these water lines done. It was a year of bickering and bidding and bullshit, right? Um, but you have companies like or countries like China that they're moving forward. They're like in 2185, technologically speaking. While we're what wanting to go back to 1965. Sorry, you might hear my wife's car. She just stopped home for a minute. Her AC
no,
is running.
I don't know, 19 no, we are definitely going backwards. We're probably back into 1950s. I mean, and our favorite conversation is always about the election irregularities.
Yep.
1865. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we're going pretty far back there,
1865 with cell phones. Basically, shit.
Yeah, so but all of this truly does come from Project 2025.
Yes, it does. It was their plan
Yeah,
the whole time.
the whole time. Project 2025 is not the blueprint. Project 2025 is the instructional manual.
That it is.
S-
Yeah. Before we go, speaking of our favorite topic, um, we were talking, and we've been talking the last couple of days about you know I think people, for the average American, to understand like what happened during the 2024 election. A lot of people talk about recounts, right? Well, we need to recount and check the numbers, and there are other ways, technologically speaking, that you could determine through investigation that the election was truly stolen, right? But for the average American, I think understanding it would be, say, The best example I always give is Wayne County, right? The ETA comes out with their numbers. Yet there's problems there, except for the city of Detroit. So for the average American to understand it, to go into those other precincts and recount them, because if they did what they did, if you actually physically recount the hand ballots with human eyes, the numbers in those precincts will not match the numbers that were reported on election night after tabulation service and everything like that. And I think that's what Americans need to see. But I think they also need to understand that if that doesn't come and you're like, well, how do we know? Because there wasn't a recount. There are other ways. There are other ways to figure it out uh, through technical means. Uh, and I'm not a technical expert. Like this will hold. She'll tell you, I'm not a technical expert, but this is what I've learned. Right. So I think it's getting public support behind this and start pressuring. And by the way, I did write my attorney general again.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I told her, stop,
Do they
don't.
have do they have messages machines? Sorry, just to
No,
okay.
no. I emailed her just the other day. I haven't got a response yet. And it was quite lengthy. And, I was respectful. And, so we'll see what the response is. I'm quite interesting. I'm like, you're on your way out the door.
I
All
do
right.
I do wanna do just a tidbit, clarification is what I would say. When we talk about when we, talk about, recounting, I think people are confused of what we mean by recounting. The recounting I am recounting what we mean is not more than just counting the ballots, the number of ballots. What
Yeah.
we have to count is where the votes are actually going towards.
Yep.
And that's a specialized sort of counting. And so, with that being said, the concern being is that the total number of ballots is absolutely gonna match the tabulation because that's what
Yep.
has taken place in Wyoming. That has what's taken place in some of these other precincts, that the numbers do match. What we're saying is what's not matching is where the votes are going.
How do you know that the person you cast your vote for
That's the
actually
question.
went to the person you cast your vote for? Because all you're able to look up, no matter what state you live in, is that you voted on this day during this election. But it doesn't tell you that my vote for Kamala Harris actually counted towards Kamala Harris.
Right.
That's what we're saying.
Okay, and then the other final thing is so we actually need more people to get on board with that. If you're interested in joining us and helping us investigate that, I do have another publication on here that's called Exposing the 2024 Election. Go ahead and subscribe to that and outreach to me. The other thing that's taking place here in California is I'm working with another woman by the name of Lynn, and we plan to actually go and see our Attorney General here in Sacramento and to speak to him about our concerns regarding the governor's race here. Um,
Good.
Trump's um, Trump's pick is Hilton. Hilton is going to be up for election as well as Becerra. We are concerned that it's not going to be a fair and election due to this, and we're planning to have a conversation. I'm planning to go with her, but I'm looking for more people to join me. She's going to be looking for more people to join her to have a group of about 10 individuals to have this conversation. So if you're interested in joining me, going to Sacramento, and we're hoping to do it in July, going to Sacramento, please send me a DM, contact me on Substack, and we'll work it out from there.
And I
So
think that the most important thing, if anybody who decides, and I hope that you do, wherever you live in your state, to write your attorney general and that's how I started my email to my attorney general is I don't know if my point counted towards the right candidate. That's the problem.
That's
And
that's
well, most of them will come back, well, they're free and fair, safe and secure. They'll give you the bullshit, right?
right.
Uh, and that's kind of where you go from there is, but I don't know that, and neither do you. You're
Correct.
trusting, you're putting your trust in a computer tabulation system that is easily hackable. It's proven it was hackable, and that is connected
The
to the
numbers,
internet.
the numbers, it's mathematically proven. It's
Yep.
the numbers show it.
Do I
So
believe in coincidences? I absolutely do. But do I believe in 5 coincidences on the same night? No, I do not.
no,
That is
no,
purposely being done. That is not a coincidence.
correct.
That's why I wanna make those AI things. I voted in Burke County, Florida. I voted in Oklahoma County, Michigan. No, no. Once a glitch, maybe, but you know what? 5 different times, that's not glitching. That's being done purposely.
And then my final thought, I actually want to wish my stepfather, who listens to the program, a happy birthday. It is his birthday today, so I believe he has is turning what how old? Um,
Shh, don't give his age away.
yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not gonna give it away, but, really, happy birthday, Thomas.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday. So, thank you all for joining us today. Come back and see us again next week for our 20th episode. I'm actually gonna discuss a little bit more about, Project 2025, but in relations to the 504 section as well as with IEPs, individual education plans, and describing the differences. Because last week we talked a lot about the 504s, but we never described it and where what is the legal clarity between a 504 versus an IEP. And I really do want to go over that because of what is taking place with the ombudsman um, from the DOJ's memo. So I appreciate everyone joining us today. Next week, join me for that one. I will be giving you some suggestions of how parents can actually fight for their children. My children have had IEPs. My daughter has had IEP with a 504, and we'll go through the distinctions of that and what is taking place today. So thank you for joining us and join us again next week. We will also continue to discuss this election irregularities because the midterms are coming up in November and we have a lot of work to do ahead of
Yes,
us.
we do.
So take care all.
Bye.
Bye.